Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. Today I have here Michelle, who's our new principal at Worcestershire, and I thought today would be a really good opportunity to get to learn about Michelle a little bit more and to make sure that we're asking questions that students want to know. Michelle?
Nice to see you, Harrison, and thank you so much for the opportunity to come and chat to you today.
Absolutely, yeah. And could you tell us a little bit about your background, kind of where you've come from and your plans?
I joined this college, it's the 9th college that I've worked at over the last 15 years. But prior to that, I worked for 20 years in industry. So what I bring to the college is an insight into the world of employment. I worked in logistics, I worked in business support, and I ran my own business for a number of years. So, you know, to have that experience and then to have all that experience in a college environment means that I've seen a lot of things that work, a lot of things that don't work, and I can bring that to this college.
Absolutely, yeah. And in terms of your personal experience with education and further education, do you think you have any experiences that help to support your role nowadays?
Yeah, absolutely. So if it hadn't have been for my post-16 education experience, I don't think I'd be sat here today. I had an interesting experience in my secondary school, which meant that I didn't leave with the qualifications that I really should have. And I decided to move to a different post-16 education provider, which was about an hour away. I left all of my friends and went to a different place. And it was that experience that the teaching was amazing. The subject areas were much more fascinating and things that I wanted to do. And as a result of that, I got the grades I needed to go to university. But as I say, you know, without that experience, I don't think I would be in this position today. But it did more than just that. I didn't just leave with the qualifications. It really brought me out as an individual as well. So, you know, as someone who was at the age of 16 quite shy and quite introverted, actually that post-16 education experience enabled me to just grow in confidence. And you know, that's something that I am particularly passionate about in terms of this college.
That's really good, yeah, and I think a lot of students would agree with you when we talk about the significance and importance of further education. You know, it's a really good opportunity to not only develop your professional and industry-related knowledge, but also those personal skills and building oneself as an individual.
Absolutely, and that's so important. I mean, if you're going to go and do fantastic things in life and really achieve your full potential, whatever that is that you want to do, you need more than the qualification. The qualification's really important, but you need that kind of resilience. You need to develop your character, and further education enables that often to happen. You know, they're the stories I hear from students at graduation events, you know, at student forums, you know, when you're chatting to students about the impact that colleges have on them, and that really matters to me.
And in terms of what you believe to be students' biggest issues from your experience, what do you think are the key issues?
I think it's different now, actually. I think post-pandemic, there's you know, mental health issues. You hear it more and more from young people about some of the mental health challenges that they have. And you know, that's why I'm so passionate about the support that we provide to students as well. You know, it's that whole wraparound service, so you get great teaching, but you get great support as well. Cost of living crisis, you know, that concerns me greatly. And you know, you hear some of the stories about how young people and our adult learners are struggling more with the cost of living crisis. So again, you know, we as educators can do all that we possibly can to be able to help and support. But it's also about those employability skills. It's about people being able to have that qualification and those employability skills so they can go and get the very best jobs possible and really go and shine and fly when they leave the heart of Worcestershire College.
And I think for myself, some of the biggest issues that I've come across are things like you said, so employability as well as just general life skills as well, and mixing with new people, which I think is an interesting experience that colleges give you. I'm a strong believer in constantly talking to students and making sure that you're engaging with them because the needs of young people is constantly changing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so things for, you know, platforms and just places where students can raise these issues is really important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And then in terms of what your kind of mission statement is for your time at Heart Worcestershire, what are your biggest goals?
We're part of the community, the Worcestershire community, and I think what's really important is that we maximise our part in that community. So that's about making sure that students get the best opportunities to move forward, that employers get to engage with the college and get to see our students and the abilities and the opportunities that they will provide in their business. But also working with stakeholders across, you know, the range of the whole of Worcestershire, and working with, so it's about collaboration really, about making sure we collaborate with everyone to play our part in the community. But it's also important to me because we're a large employer here, and we have, you know, fabulous teaching and support staff. It's about making sure that this continues to be a great place to work. Because if you have happy staff, then, you know, that ultimately reflects on the student experience. So yeah, it's all about collaboration, working together.
Absolutely, and I really liked what you were talking about when you were talking about employers. It's really important that we're constantly communicating with employers, and I think that's something that Heart Worcestershire has always done quite well in, making sure that the content we're teaching leave students with the correct and most appropriate skills for local businesses.
Absolutely, because as part of your education, you know, the Heart of Worcestershire College is part of that journey, and it's making sure that we are relevant to the roles that you know, people like yourselves will go into, and we do that by engaging with employers, by getting them to help develop our curriculum, to deliver some of our curriculum, and you know, to just really be part and embrace the college as part of their community.
In terms of the impact on the environment, have you had any previous experience with trying to come up with solutions to previous colleges' impact on the environment, or do you have any current aspirations for trying to nail that down for this college?
One of the things I have been particularly impressed about here is the advancement, you know, how focused this college is in terms of sustainability and making sure we're going for green. I've been really impressed with the biodiversity. You know, I love that we've got the Hedgehog Bronze Award. So I think there's lots of brilliant things that this college has done already, and that's significantly reduced the carbon footprint already. But we have to keep going with that because, you know, there is a climate crisis. I know from my conversations with young people, not just young people, I think, you know, everybody feels it, but I feel that passion more from young people talking about, you know, how we have to do something. And this is an opportunity for us to continue to work with students and, you know, keep pushing the message, keep educating because we're educators, but doing the all that we can do as employers to make sure that we operate in a green and efficient way as well. The recent newsletter that came out to all staff had some top tips in terms of some of the things that you can do to make sure that you're more sustainable and I think, you know, that helps us because it's such a big issue that sometimes people don't know where to start, and by providing those tips and those ideas means that we can all play our part and just continually learn to do things in a more sustainable way.
And in terms of your final message to students or parents and guardians or any stakeholder of the college, what would you like to leave?
So, as I said, you know, it's really important that we as a college play our part in Worcestershire. I'm very much in listening mode. I'm always in listening mode. But you know, being new to the college, I'm getting a feel and meeting lots and lots of people across the area. I'd like to encourage students, parents, stakeholders, employers to work with us at the Heart of Worcestershire College to continue to improve everything that we do, so that we give our students the very best opportunities. And you know, that in itself will help and develop Worcestershire as a whole.
I really appreciate you taking the time to be here, Michelle. It's been really good. And I think it's important to also point out that the questions that we've been asking today, we've made sure to consider the students as well as our student ambassadors, so making sure that the students who will be watching this hopefully soon will be able to get the answer to those questions that they were hoping to look for. And I think this is a really big change for the college to get a new principal. So being able to learn a little bit more about you, as well as just to see where the college is going to be going, is really beneficial to them.
You're welcome. Thank you for the time and the opportunity, Harrison.